Good morning from Yami B TV. Wishing you all well, sending loads of love to you. And as promised from the live the other day, I'm in the middle of the countryside with ex-boxer, ex-Soho.
Joe Cipriano. How you doing, guys?
Got Joe Cipriano. What a story this is. We're doing part one. Mostly this is the boxing part of this two-part or trilogy, if you get what I mean. But it's a very, very powerful story. Joe, first things first, my boy. Where did you grow up? Schooling, and talk about just a little bit about your early life before you reached.
Born in London.
Yeah.
Greek father, Spanish
father.
Yeah. And up until the age of 2, I was born in Paddington, so I'm a real London boy.
Yeah.
And then we moved to Bedford, and basically that's where it all stood. That's where it all started.
Yeah, but you're like from school days, give us a couple of early memories from school, the fighting, your sports things. Did you work? How did you become a boxer? That kind of stuff.
School days, like everyone else, we got bullied. You had fights. It was one of those things where you just had to sort of like survive. That was the kind of thing. I was surviving. I was very young. Used to get into a lot of trouble. Basically mixed with the wrong people, and basically I just had to fight my way out of a lot of stuff. Being kind of foreign looking as well didn't help back in the day, so I was always getting picked on. And that was one of the reasons why I got into boxing.
When did it really...
Really kicked off for me when I was about 14, 15.
So what area was this now specifically that we're talking?
Right, specifically I was living in Kempston, which is Bedfordshire.
Bedfordshire?
Yeah, Bedfordshire, Kempston. So I didn't really start amateur boxing until I was about 17.
Did you have many fights there?
Yeah, I had 18 amateur fights. I think I won about 13, 14 of those.
How was those early bits, Joe? Describe yourself as a boxer, mover, puncher.
I was more of a
dancer.
Yeah. I'm not a brawler.
No.
I mean, a lot of fighters, they want to brawl all the time. With me, I was a stick and move. I had a really, really good jab.
Yeah.
I was told my jab was fantastic, and I was always on the end of the jab. I'll keep you there, keep you on the end of the jab, throw a hook, throw an uppercut, and that was my best trade really as a boxer, as an amateur boxer. And I loved it so much that that's what got to me.
Sorry, Joe. Brothers, sisters?
No brothers, no sisters.
Dad was what he's Greek.
Just me. I was sport rotten.
Yeah. How do you feel about Dad? Any memories?
My dad, yeah, I miss my dad. He's been gone now 20 years, and I miss him every day, Yami. I miss him every day, yeah. He was a big influence in my life, he really was.
Character?
Just a mad character. Everyone loved him.
Yeah. Everyone
loved him. He was just the life and soul.
Yeah.
Life and soul, yeah. And now I'm looking after my mum, and she's 98.
Wow.
Yeah, 98.
A lot of guys my age are looking after their mum. Good boys, I got Lloyd. Remember Lloyd was talking?
Yeah.
Real hard days, grafting them, real sons. I know exactly.
So you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. Hey, Joe, so then, all right, the earliest memories, Dad, yeah. Mum?
Mum was a very hard worker. My mum used to work in the chip shop, and when I was a youngster, I used to help her out in the chippy, and and at the weekends, I was just basically in there helping her out, and she was she was a grafter.
Okay.
Really hard worker.
Oh, Joe, so you were sporty. You was definitely sporty, you'd say.
Yeah, I love my footy, love my boxing.
Football.
I was more into footy really before my boxing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I turned into boxing, and then that was it for me.
What position did you play football?
I was centre forward.
See, I used to play behind the number 9 at the thing. So I would have thought you would have been a footballer, not boxers, mind you. All right, so then we go back to the the amateur. That's ABAs.
Amateurs, it's just a normal amateur, novice amateur back in the day.
What kind of venues you was just predominantly in?
All over Luton. I've boxed Aylesbury. I've boxed Hatfield.
Yeah.
We used to box all over. In Bedford.
Yeah.
I think I boxed in Basildon once as well. I just boxed everywhere. Really.
That's the amateur stage.
Just amateur.
So when did the professional started?
Okay, what happened was I was actually working in Soho at the time.
Right.
And I was 24, 25.
Yeah.
And I met a guy who knew a guy and basically introduced me to him. And I went to this gym. I had my amateur experience. The trainer there was a guy called Casey McCullum. And the gym was the Mitcham Tavern in Streatham. And he liked what he saw, and he said, yeah, you've got something about you. We're not quite sure what we got, but you got something.
Yeah.
So anyway, I went there a few times, and then he introduced me to a guy called Greg Steen. Now, Greg Steen back in the day was a very good promoter.
Yeah.
And promoted quite a few good fighters. And his dad was Alex Steen, who was very well known in the underworld.
Yeah.
So he had offices in the Haymarket in Piccadilly.
Right.
And I went in there and I actually signed professional forms with Greg Steen. And I was training with some really great guys up in the Mitcham Tavern. I think at the time in the gym there was a guy called Lou Gent. I don't know if you've heard of Lou Gent.
I've heard of Lou Gent.
Yeah, Lou Gent was, I think he was Southern Area champion at the time.
You ever fight with Nigel Benn?
Yeah.
I got him. I watched that in prison. Yeah.
And there was a guy called Stan King from Forest Hill. I boxed or sparred with him actually a couple of times.
Yeah.
And a guy called Lou Ayres did a bit of sparring. So things were going quite well for me. And then I got a really bad, horrific back injury. And back in the day, it wasn't.
Is this during your professional stage?
Yeah, it was like I was weeks away from getting my pro fight. I think I was going to be fighting at the Latchmere Leisure Centre or something like that.
Yeah, but let's have a look at some of those professional fights, Joe. Because after let's get this right way round. Because I come with limited information when I do things. My viewers know that I just walk in.
I'm going to help him out.
I just walk in and just ask the questions. Like his proper stuff. Uncle Yami, he's affiliated to a lot of people close to me as well. But them professional fights, how many of them did you have?
I didn't have any.
You didn't? You had the injury before that?
Injury, yeah, that's what killed me.
What year was that, Joe?
91.
Gotcha.
So I was 26. I'd already signed the professional forms. I'd already done the training. My medical was all sorted out.
Yeah.
Passed the medical, flying colours. I was super fit. I was like 12 stone 12 at the time.
Yeah.
I think I was going to box at light heavyweight.
Yeah.
And then I had that back injury, and that was me done. I couldn't. You can't have a fighter that can't move.
No.
Once you're done, you're done. And the back injuries haunted me for years. So that was it. That was over for me until 2016.
And then you made a comeback.
At 51.
Why did they do this kind of thing?
See what I mean?
Oh no.
I'll tell you what happened. What happened was I was in the bookies in Kempston, and a guy came up to me who I knew and said that his brother had done white collar fighting, white collar boxing. At the time I wasn't really into white collar. I didn't know what white collar was about as such. He said, "Oh, my brother got knocked out, and can you help him? Can you train him?" So I said, "Yeah, okay." I'm thinking, I haven't boxed for years. I was 51 years old at the time. So I met his brother. We hooked up. We went to the gym a couple of times and sparred with him. And I was doing quite well with him. I was thinking, wow, I'm still got a little bit of something in me, you know what I mean? Anyway, I don't know how it came up, but this white collar, I think it's UWCB came up in how do you call it, social media. Yeah. I thought, that'll be good for this guy. I'll get him a fight. So I rang him up and I said, look, I think there's a fight. They're looking for fighters. This was in the July. Right. I think they want you to fight in October. Would you like to do it? And basically he said, no, I've done my shouldering. And I thought, that's a bit of a cop out really. And I remember sitting in my car thinking, have I got the balls to do this? Yeah. At 51. And I thought, Joe, you're being stupid. I thought, no, you know what, I'll give it a go. You know what I mean? Yummy. I thought, I'm going to give it a go. You know what I mean? So anyway, I rang them up and they said, yeah, come down for a meet and all that. So it was in Bedford, and it was at the a place called the Academy in Bedford. And there was a whole list of people that went down. There were girls and guys. Yeah. And I think there must have been about 20 or 30 people that went. And as I walked through the door, there was a guy that I recognised that remembered me from way back in the day when I was an amateur. I think it was Sidney Thompson. Very, very nice guy. Yeah. Really, really good guy. And he remembered me, and he clocked me. He went, oh, he goes, what are you doing that stuff? Just put my hand in, started laughing. Okay, yeah. So I remember the first few weeks, bit of training, and I was sparring with some of the youngsters, and they were like in their 20s and 30s. A couple of the guys were like my weight. Yeah. But because of my amateur experience, I seemed to put it on them. So I had that leverage, even though I was older. Yeah. So you couldn't really get a fair fight if they were to put me, because you're supposed to fight someone in your class. Yeah. So I remember getting a phone call from Sydney saying, look, we want to make the fights as fair as we can, which is fair play, and because of the experience I had, it wasn't really fair for me to fight those guys. So we got a guy I think he was from Milton Keynes, and I can't remember his name offhand, but he was a lot younger than me. I think he was 29 at the time, and I remember thinking, shit, you know, I'm 51 and this guy's 20. I'm going to get battered. Anyway, to cut a long story short, we did the fight and I got it on a decision. And my experience got me through, not because he was a bad fighter, because at 29 you should be strong, you should be fit. And he was strong, he was stronger than me, he was fitter than me. But I think my experience, my jab, my technique was better. I think that's what carried me, because of that amateur experience. So I won the fight because of that. And it was a real uplift for me, because I'm thinking, 51 years old, you've won. Amazing, you know. And I should have stopped there, shouldn't I? But I got greedy and I wanted another one. So my next fight was actually at Bedford at the Corn Exchange. And it's a geezer you might know.
Say it, go on.
It's a guy called Manny Clark.
Oh, I knew he was going to say that. I knew it, Tony Arjun. Legs, mate. Oh, mate, Manny Clark.
Yeah, Manny Clark. Now, at the time, I didn't know much about Manny. I knew that he had a bit of a reputation because he was banging a lot of people out. And he's a very strong, stocky guy, And he's literally 6 months younger than me, And I thought, well, you know, what's the worst that can happen? Anyway, we put up a good show. Sugar Ray Leonard came to the venue, and a lot of people were there at the venue, and I got beat on a points decision. I wasn't at my best. It was 90-second rounds. I'm not really used to 90 seconds.
Who was in your corner, Charles?
Some of the team that were there from the white collar, from the first white collar.
Gotcha.
So they were like, you know, they were good, but I just didn't perform, to be honest. You know what I mean?
Well, it's an hard one, Manny Clark, isn't it? Really?
Well, for
you've
your
done quite well tonight. You never got knocked out.
No, didn't get nowhere near getting knocked out. And then I should have stopped there really, but I got greedy again. So then, now here's the one that will get to you. On my 52nd birthday, I boxed in. I think it was in Hatfield. Somewhere, And I think it was in a nightclub, Prisms or somewhere like that. Anyway. And I remember on a Thursday, I was training at Bedford at the Gaines gym. As a matter of fact. And I remember saying to the promoter, there was only 2 of us going to this show, and one of the guys was a younger guy, and his nose his blood was like, you know, his nose was just like getting hit all the time. And I was saying to the promoter, as we were coming out in the car park, I went, do you think it's a good idea if he has a fight? You know, because we're fighting on the Saturday. I said, I don't think he's ready. And he said, no, he's a strong lad, he can handle himself, I was like, okay. Well, I didn't feel personally that he was ready for that fight. And to be honest, I misjudged my guy. My guy was an ex-MMA fighter, and he was absolutely solid. He was an ex-squaddy, ex-rugby player. I think his name was Bobby Fielding. But tough. I mean, I've never been hit so hard. I had fucking contusions and bruises, and I thought I had brain damage. I tell you, the guy hit me. It was a dreadful fight. I should never have even got it. I shouldn't have took it on, but I did, you know, and paid the price for that. I thought I had concussion.
Dangerous game. They're I don't get it with me.
To be honest, they should have pulled me out from the first round because I had concussion from the very first shot. But I stood my ground. I thought, you know what, I'm not giving in. But they were saying that I was arguing with the ref, but I don't even remember arguing. But I remember clinching as well. I did a lot of clinching because in my head I'm thinking, if I clinch him, and get him tired, maybe I can get my shots off. I don't know what I was thinking, but it never happened. So so that was a bad one.
Who was you sparring with round about that time?
A lot of the guys from the gym at Gaines Gym in Bedford. So my sparring was okay. I was sparring okay, and then in the same year, I think it was in the June, I boxed Manny again.
You boxed Manny again?
Yeah, and this time, this performance was much better performance. Now, I thought I'd nicked it.
Gordon Bennett.
It was a draw. I was really, really...
That's a good result.
Yeah, but I was boxing really, really well at the time, really, really well.
Was the crowd, I bet all the crowd were with Manny.
Massive crowd, Manny always brings a lot of people to the show, so he had a massive following, you know, and it was a really good show, and you know, he's a real tough brawler, you know, he brings it all the time. If you're in a fight, man, you know you're going to be in a fight with him. So if you're not prepared, he's going to knock you out.
Your styles would be a bit
so
more
his style, my style's like
a bit more.
I'll keep him at range, you know what I mean? Like, and he wants, come on,
have it.
I'm not having a row with you because I'm boxing my style,
Who was ringside? One of them fights, I swear I've read somewhere at ringside. He was at ringside for one of those Manny Clark fights, And he was saying, hurt it.
Oh, this was the other. This was the exhibition I did.
An exhibition. That
Yeah, I
was
think
an
that's
I saw- I read
Norman.
that.
Yeah, Norman Buckland.
Norman
was there.
Buckland,
and
yeah.
Matt Legg.
Matt Legg.
Yeah,
Matt Legg's
Matt-
from round. Oh, they're from the same area.
Yeah, from I think
yeah,
they're from Aylesbury and
Milton Keynes.
Milton Keynes. Yeah.
And
And
was you sparring Matt Legg?
I did one round with Matt Legg.
And you've got to tell me you won that one, Joe.
Well, you know what? I did all right. You know what? He
Right.
clipped me right at the back here, and I
Right.
went down on
Yeah.
one knee, got back up right at the end. So I did all right. You know,
done all
for the
right.
did all right. Considering
I always,
was like
I always believed that I could do Matt Legg. That's
Yeah,
strange,
do you
that
know
is.
what?
Not really.
Matt, he's got your number here. I tell you, he's got your number.
He's spelled Matt Legg.
Yeah,
Joe,
yeah,
you're
that's
close to
fine.
home here, really.
Yeah. But
What happened in the exhibition match again?
Well, yeah,
Man, Nick, that-
I was gonna come to that.
Yeah.
Basically,
Oh yeah.
I had an injury in July 2017. I was on a walking stick for 6 weeks. Went to the hospital. Nobody knew what it was. I was in a lot of pain. I was taking Tremodol, taking painkillers. And if anyone had said to you, Joe's going to box again, you'd have laughed and said, "What? That old man, the guy with a walking stick."
Inspirational.
I was in so much pain. Anyway, as soon as that come, I remember lying on a recliner one day and waking up and the pain just disappeared. And God knows what happened. I think it was God's way of
God knows
testing.
what-
I think it was God's way of testing me
Took the words right out of my
to
mouth.
see if I could. Because 8 months later, I won a vets title in Newmarket.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I beat a guy called Jim Bowers at Newmarket. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we had a return match at the York Hall, and he beat me.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
When was that? There was an interview on
Yeah,
TV.
that interview was for the York Hall. Yeah, Anglia TV came to interview
Anglia
me.
TV.
Yeah, they came to interview me, and it was about the fight at the York Hall.
That's the bit that I saw.
Yeah. And they
I
came
saw
to
that.
interview. Yeah, it was a good interview, and you know, me and Jim. I mean, I think I had the fight won, to be honest.
Never give up on the dreams,
First
but-
round I won. Second round I got a point taken off. Third round we went to war in the third round, and in the fourth round I just couldn't. I had nothing in me. I got up from the stool and I went back down on the stool. I went trying to get back up, and the ref was like, no. And so even though I wanted to carry on, fight was over. Now I went to the hospital a few weeks later, and they found out my blood count was all low and my liver function was like way off the scale. And so I really shouldn't have even boxed, really, to be honest. But I did. But no excuses. He won, and he's a decent guy, and a really his promoter Eddie Guest, really lovely guy, really good promoter. And I'll tell you another good promoter, a guy called Alex Phillips. He was the guy that got me the fight at the York Hall, and we raised money for the Sick Children Fund.
Yeah.
So that was a really good, and they're really good promoters. You know, I rate them guys.
Yeah.
Lovely guys. But in boxing, there's a lot of I don't know what it is, but there's a lot of jealousy amongst people there that can spread bad things about you. And I remember there was an incident. I sent a post out on social media. Now, social media is a great thing because people like it or hate it.
Yeah.
I love it because you can tell a lot from those social media.
Mm.
You know who your friends are.
Yeah.
If you're not getting no likes and stuff like
Yeah.
that, you know people are not interested.
Mm.
But the thing was, I sent out a post saying thank you for all the guys that will come in to watch and support me. And of those who can't make it, well, okay, no problem. I got a phone call straight away from this guy that I knew who was a friend of mine. And he was screaming down the phone. He said, "I hope that wasn't aimed at me." And I was like, "Well, what are you talking about?" He goes, "Well, my mum's dying and blah, 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 blah." And I was like, "Well, you know, I'm really sorry. You know, that I was shocked." And then he's put the phone down on me. But the next thing, he's saying to everyone that I've laughed at him on the phone because his mum's dying. I've got a mum that's 98 years old. I'd never do that.
No.
But Chinese whispers, and what happens is people get to...
If they don't like it, it makes it worse.
So they spread it. So it makes me look really bad. And, you know, and that's... My reputation is getting destroyed because of people saying certain things, you know. And then there was another guy who... it's funny, he took a bit of a liberty with me at one of the gyms when I was doing a white collar. I remember the trainer saying, "Well, we do light sparring." Now, light sparring, Yami, if I'm doing light sparring with you, I'm not going to go all out on you. I'm just going to tap you. You know, you're going to tap me, I'm going to tap you. But this guy was, I don't know what it was, maybe his ego, I don't know. But he was looking to land one on me. And I knew this. And I'm thinking, it's supposed to be light. So I'm not going mad with him. But he's caught me a corker and he's cut my lip.
Yeah.
So I said, "What are you doing?" He was like, What?
Yeah.
I said, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
I said, no problem. I said, it was supposed to be like sparring. He goes, yeah, it was like sparring. I was like, it wasn't, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, the following week, yeah, we're doing a circle. What happens is you go around in a circle. So one fighter fights one, and after 2 minutes, you fight someone else.
Yeah.
Same thing. He's landed with me again. But this time, Yami, I think with a double jab and then a front and right. And I've wobbled him. And he's looked at me and he's gone, what are you doing, bruv?
Yeah.
I went, Darnell, that was for last week. Now him, the other guy, all the other guys have all hooked up together, all hating on me.
Oh, God.
But that's just the mentality of
Sounds
those.
more like the cat eyes.
Yeah, Bedford, I call it Deadford, but that's the mentality of those people. They, you know, it did frustrate me. I do get upset by stuff like that. I do take it personal. I do. But yeah, there was a lot of to and fro in social media, slagging me off, and you know, I'll give as good as I get. Yeah, I mean, I don't just sit there and take it.
No,
I'll give it back.
No, Joe.
So anyway, I've had all that to deal with, and then no, let's get back to the last fight we said, the one at the the exhibition.
Yes, exhibition. Yeah.
So I get a phone call from a promoter, and he said, "What are you up to?" Now, this promoter, in the April, I want to go and fight on his show.
Yeah.
He had me on a standby, which basically means you ain't going to get on anyway.
No.
And I really wanted to fight on that show, but anyway, I didn't get on. That's how it is. So he says, yeah, do you want to fight Manny for an exhibition match? He goes, Frank Bruno's going to be doing his corner.
Right.
And he says, you'll have Julius Francis in your corner.
That's the one I read, I think.
Yeah, so my missus was sitting next to me and she was going, don't do it. And I'm like, yeah, right, I'll do it. She went, what? I thought I'll do it because I want to show all those haters what I can do, yeah? Just before I put the phone down, the promoter's gone to me, oh, by the way, he goes, the trainer, now that trainer who'd been in my corner when I boxed Manny a couple of times, he's not training you. He won't be in your corner because he's preparing other fighters. Yeah. And I thought, okay, that's cool. If he's preparing someone else, it doesn't matter, I'll have someone else in my corner. Yeah. Now, unbeknown to me, I felt like I was being set up, really, to be honest. Don't forget, I hadn't boxed for 3 years, Yami. Yeah. I had no training, 2 weeks. My missus said, are you going to train? I said, what's the point? There's 2 weeks. I'm either going to do it or I'm not going to do it. There's no point. I mean, 2 weeks ain't going to make a great bit of difference. So I'd had no training whatsoever.
So you're on your way to the exhibition.
Right, so I get there.
I
walk in.
Right.
And the eye contact is you can cut the atmosphere with a knife. Yeah, literally. Yeah. And I'm looking, and some of the guys are looking at me, and they're kind of looking away. And it's like I'm thinking, okay, I can see how this is going to play out. Yeah.
Well, where's this, in the dressing room or?
This is out in the hallway.
Oh, out in the hallway.
Massive hallway.
Yeah.
And that guy that I was telling you about, the one who's like his mum was like, he said, oh, I laughed. He was there. So I went over to the table.
That makes you uneasy.
Yeah, it was, and he was like,
all that energy flying around.
But the trainer was there. The trainer that I was supposed to be in my corner wasn't going to be there. It kind of gave me a bit of a bad vibe, to be really. He wasn't really like engaging with me. So I thought, okay, I'm in the Devil's Cauldron now. Yeah. I thought, all right, Joe, you're going to have to step up your game here.
The Colosseum, mate.
Yeah, I was in the Colosseum. I tell you, with all the lions there. So anyway, when you walk into the venue, you've got the toilets, and then you've got all the changing rooms. Yeah. Yeah. And on the doors, you've got the names of the fighters. So you'll have door 1, so and so, door 2, so and so, and you normally have like 3 or 4 fighters on each door. Yeah. So I look at my changing room, and it's just my name. But when I open the dressing room, it's a disabled toilet.
Oh no.
So kicking the nuts, yeah. So anyway,
that's all psychological ploys to make you feel good.
Right. So I'm there. As I'm getting ready, Yami, I'm getting ready. Yeah. And I've chosen my music. And no disrespect to any of the fighters, their music's great, but my entrance music was fantastic.
What was it, Frank Sinatra?
No. You know my name, Chris Cornell, James Bond.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know my name. Anyway, so when they're playing that and they're blasting out, the fans are going mad. People are going, because it's a really good tune to come out to. I'm all gloved now. Basically, I've got myself ready in this. I've put my gloves on. I've put my pads on. There's nobody in my corner helping me out. I'm doing everything myself. I've got 2 lads that come and help.
Your missus there?
My missus is sat right at the back. They put her right at the back with my best mate. They've sat her right at the back, so she can hardly see anything. Yeah. So this is getting even worse now. Yeah. As I come out, the trainer, who's supposed to be, you know, putting the gloves on and helping, he's having a food. He's eating out of a tray. So I've looked at him and I'm thinking, okay, I see where this is going. It's almost like a fuck you kind of thing, you know. So then my music's playing now, and I like to. I'm one of these people. I like to play, you know, let it go, nice and slow. Yeah. And he's trying to rush me. Come on, we're like, no, it's my moment now. Yeah. I said, it's my moment. So he didn't like that. Yeah. I didn't give a shit anyway. I'm going into the Devil's Cauldron now. Right. I've come out of there, and I can see. Oh, just before I come out, I forgot to tell you this. As I've come out, one of my mates who I've known for a long, long time, I won't mention his name, but he said to me, they're having bets on you that you're going to get knocked out. But that's inspired me even more, because I'm thinking, it's not going to happen now. So I'm really in the Devil's Cauldron now. So now, as I come out, I see the fans, I'm thinking, okay, all I can do is just focus now, just focus. And I see, and I'm tapping people with my gloves as I'm going into the ring. And I see Julius Francis, and he's like, shook my hand, he goes, yeah, just keep him at the end of your jab and everything. I've done the 3 rounds, come out of there, didn't get knocked out, put in a really, really good performance. I think Manny was trying to knock me out. I was trying to knock him out, but we couldn't. We cancelled each other out. Yeah. Our styles are not like that. He's got a very broadly come forward style, and he's a very strong character. But I'm always on the jab and keeping him long range. And you know, styles make fights. Yeah. So that's the 4th time we boxed. We've come nowhere close to knocking each other out. But I've come out of there and I've looked at the people, and all those people that doubted me, Yami, all of them, they were just looking at the floor, and that was a victory for me.
That's a victory
for me.
That's what I'm saying.
Victory. Victory.
I've had that feeling in
So, you know, Matt Legg came over, shook my hand, he said to me to fight, and Norman Buckland came over, and he goes, and I went, he didn't hurt me, and he started laughing, and he put his hand. They're lovely characters, they're lovely guys. Really, yeah, straight characters, you know, they've been there, they've done that, you know, and what I did is my own personal thing. But
that white collar stuff, Joe, sorry, do you get paid for that?
No, you don't get paid for white collar stuff.
Oh, you don't get paid for white collar?
No. And the white collar stuff, I would say now, as well, I think it should be more regulated. And what I mean by that is, there's no drug testing. When you have white collar, you do get the ambulance service. They do check you over. They do your pulse. They do your heart. They want to make sure you're okay. That's good. That's really good, and I agree with that. But if someone wants to use a substance, you're not going to know about it. No. And if someone wants to stack, and I'll tell you what I mean by stacking, you know, right? If you stack your gloves, if you have like tape on your knuckles, and you put a bandage, and you tape again, and then you put a bandage, that's called stacking. Yeah. That can make your hands into a rock. So you could damage someone really, really badly by doing that. But nobody seems to check that. You don't seem to get the trainers checking to make sure that the fire. So there's a lot of regulations that need to be looked at with the white collar stuff. It can be quite dangerous. That's why you've got really good promoters like Alex Phillips and Eddie Guest, who I personally think are really, really good, because they look after their fighters, and they everything's above board. I think with Alex Phillips, you've got to have trials before we even get into having a fight. So, you know, he makes sure that his fighters are up to that level before he puts them on the show, which I think is really good. Yeah. And with Eddie as well, he's very good at selecting, you know, his opponents for his fighters, and he does it in a really. So I've got a lot of time for those guys. I think looking after your fighters is the most important thing. Yeah. Yeah, it's really important.
Was that your last fight, the exhibition, Joe?
Yeah. To be honest, my heart wasn't in it, Yami. No, you know, when I was just going through the motions with Manny. I mean, you know, I didn't have that drive like I had years before.
How much years break? You had about a 16, 18 year break now? After the injury? Because
after the injury, it's a 22-year break.
A 22-year break?
Yeah, I was 29.
So that life then after that, we're going to
go into part two.
How many is that? It's only 29 minutes, Joe. Yeah. Joe, around that time then, Luton, Bedford, certain names. Do you remember any criminal fraternity or anyone that in boxing bigger names?
I do remember.
Because I bumped into a few boys, you know, during my time in jails from Luton and Bedford.
Do you remember a guy called Alan Batiste?
Alan Batiste.
He was from Luton.
Do I know that? What age? Our age though?
He's probably maybe a little bit younger.
Maybe a little. Yeah, but it
maybe.
don't matter. I should if I would.
He turned pro. I beat him as an amateur.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I beat a really good fighter called Joe Caruso from Sandy.
Yeah.
Joe had a really good amateur career, and he hardly ever got beat. And I remember beating him. I think it might have been Aylesbury actually, where I boxed him. I can't remember, somewhere like that.
Yeah.
But then on the home show, on the return match, I had 6 on the spin. I remember, and I boxed him at his show at Sandy, and I'll never forget it. I got too cocky. I'd already won 6 on the spin. I think I was the business, and he caught me right at the end of the first round. 2 seconds to go, he caught me right on the nose.
Always the nicest place to get it.
Yeah, blood all over me, yeah. And I actually boxed really, really well. I lost on a split decision, right? People throwing money into the ring, coins into the ring. That was my best ever loss.
Yeah.
But he was a very good boxer.
Yeah.
Very, very good jab.
Yeah.
He was a good thinker. And, to get a victory over him was good. But yeah, he got his revenge over me, second time out. So, yeah, I had some really good amateur fights, really, some really top quality fighters there that I boxed against.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah. But the funny thing is, I've got to tell you, my first fight, I remember I had November the 30th, 1983. It's going back some minute now. I was 18.
Oh, yeah, I was already in custody.
Yeah, I was 18, yeah. And I fought this guy called John Piggott from Oxford. And I beat him on a unanimous points decision. And I thought I was Rocky. I'm like, I was in heaven. I was like, yeah, I've achieved all my goals. The second fight I had was in the February, and it was at Redbourne Golf Club. I'll never forget it. And I was on fight number 20.
Yeah.
Midnight. I was tired. I got into the ring with this guy called Tom King, and it's the only time that I ever got proper knocked out.
Yeah.
Second round, he hit me. I didn't even see the punch that hit me. Let's say, if you don't see the punch, that's what's going to knock you out.
Yeah.
So I must have turned me, because I was still an amateur, I was still quite limited. And he caught me, and I remember going down and trying to get up. And I remember Cole Hazelwood looking at me, that was my trainer at the time, and he was like, stay there, don't get up. So I'm like, do you remember when Rocky got knocked out by Clubber Lang?
Yeah.
It was a bit like that. I was trying to get up, I was like, it was really fun.
Sounds like Rocky was inspirational to you.
Yeah, it was, but here's the thing, yeah. What I didn't know was this. This is quite interesting. My mum was working at a chip shop at the time, and I was only 19 at the time.
Yeah.
And she was begging them for me not to fight anymore. But my trainer was saying, "What can I do? He comes training twice a week. I've got to give him a fight sooner or later." And I didn't box for 9 months. They didn't give me another fight for 9 months. Do you know what they did? They gave me 3 fights in 10 days, and I won those 3 fights. So my record from 1 out of 2 became 4 out of 5, and that's because I had the desire and the drive, to come back, and I was young and I was fit and I was strong.
Well, that kid's called. His name was Billy Swartz.
Billy Swartz, yeah, he was from Luton.
He was from Luton.
Yeah, he was.
Was that your age? That kind of age?
I think I was a bit older than him, but I think a couple of my guys that boxed at Bedford actually sparred with him.
Yeah.
A couple of the guys.
I heard about him.
Yeah.
From jail.
Yeah, he was a good. Yeah, he was a good fighter. There was a lot of the Luton Irish. You heard of Luton Irish?
Yeah.
Yeah, I boxed at Stopsley Working Men's Club as well.
Yeah.
So it was the Luton and Bedford rivalry was quite good. But they had some good fighters. They had some really good fighters.
I bumped into he was a big drug dealer. His name was Tony. I think he was Italian or Greek or something.
Tony Garginia.
That's it. Yeah. I was going to ask about him earlier because I was thinking, who do I know from Bedford who I'd done bird? He got about a 14 or something like that. And he was away quite a long time.
He had another brother
big
as well.
drugs thing kind of game. I thought that's his surname, don't
you? I didn't really know him that well. I just knew of him, but I think I was a little bit older than him.
He seemed like
I think his brother's the same age as me.
Yeah, he seemed like a heavy player.
Yeah. But he wasn't really, for me, he wasn't really a fighter. I think I remember one time we went round the back somewhere and we had some boxing gloves and he went to throw a punch and he missed, and I think I caught him. And he didn't want to know. He was like, "No." I think he was just doing it for a laugh. He was a bit of a character.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Like
but I didn't. But I didn't really know him that well, to be honest. But there's a lot of.
He stands out for me in jail though, but then I know what you mean. He's more like into the strength training and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was right there. I'll try to remember some more names as time goes on. So if we covered everything in the boxing, because those missing 22 years.
Yeah, the 22
those
years.
other things, especially with the Soho thing. I think
the Soho thing will come into.
We'll get into that and as well. Blah, blah, blah. I think we'll leave that for part 1, early morning, Joe, and then we'll fire off with part 2 shortly, because I've only just got here and that, but I think part 2 is going to be the business. Lovely, man. Well done, Joe.
Nice one,
my boy. All right, so get ready for part 2, you lot. This is just part 1.